Channel, the channel that seems to only make an appearance at the moment when there's an event going on. Bit of a shame. I'd love to be doing a bit of content, mate, but I'm quite happy jumping on other channels at the moment to get my bit of West Ham fix and get the frustrations off my chest. But yeah, we're back on here, which means there's an event at the Colour Factory. A few changes to previous events, and hopefully it seems like there's going to be ongoing events for home matches and so on, so we're going to touch upon that, but first things first, mate, we have got a very, very big game that's right on our doorstep now, mate. It's just around the corner. I am very excited. For one, we did a video on your channel yesterday, which it's been interesting reading the comments, mate, I must say. There's a bit of a different feeling from fans out there. Some seem to be excited, some seem to feel a bit pessimistic. How are you feeling, mate?
I'm really excited. This is what it's all about, isn't it? For pretty much my entire life, I've been waiting for European football. It's the third season of it now. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I want it again next season, even if it's the Conference League. Well, I'd prefer the Europa League. Let's just put that out there. But even if it was only the Conference League, I'd be happy with that. To have 4 seasons of European football would be fantastic. But this game's huge. Bayer Leverkusen, unbeaten. I'm licking my lips at it, to be honest with you, Frankie. We're not the favourites. They're the favourites to go through, and this should be the favourites to go through given their season thus far. But bring it on. And this is what football's all about, surely. And I am really looking forward to it. Now, you ask me on Friday, I might think, oh, that's it, done and dusted now, we're out. But there's every possibility that come Friday, I'll be looking forward to next Thursday, where I think we might do it and get to the semi finals. Do I think we'll do it? I'm not sure. But I think we've got a chance. They're unbeaten, but I don't think they're unbeatable.
That's a really good way to put it, mate, to be perfectly honest. And oh yeah, I echo that. I think, well, I just can't not get up for a game. I can't not believe West Ham's going to win. Mate, how many times have we been the massive underdog and West Ham go and turn someone over against all odds? It's kind of all right. We probably haven't been that team as much in recent times, because we had a period, obviously, under Moyes of not beating the top six sides.
Away from home, we've been beating them at home, though.
Yeah, obviously the Liverpool game where we beat them 3-2 sticks out. That was a really nice one. So, but yeah, I've always got that belief. There's something about it that I love. Going, like I said, the example I always give is going to Stamford Bridge away, being bottom of the league and beating them 3-2. 3-2 seems to be a scoreline that we like when we pull out these crazy results. Going to Old Trafford, mate, and having the old Di Canio one, let's all do the Barthez. I remember going there. I think the bookmakers were like made us 10-1. Totally written off, no chance, and we go and do the business, mate. So yeah, I always like to have a bit of belief and faith. I can't ever think West Ham's not gonna go and get the result that we all want. And yeah, like you said, this is what it's all about, isn't it, mate? We've been screaming out for a big European tie. Obviously, we had some really nice ones, Seville and Lyon, but this is probably the biggest one for me, even bigger than Frankfurt. I just feel like this is the one that really sticks out for me. A side that are high flying. Like you say, this is probably the one where we're being given the least chance, and it makes it all the more sweeter when you can pull up a result when nobody believes you can. So I would love to get one over on a mate, and I've got a really good feeling about this one, mate. I feel like we're going to do it. Basically, mate, because I feel we're going to do it, and I feel like this is such a big tie. Normally, we wait until the semi-finals before we do events, but I just feel like this first leg is so important to the whole quarterfinal over the course of 2 legs that we'd get everyone together, relive a bit of those fortunate moments, if you like, of last year. Colour Factory's been very good to us. It's brought us luck until this point, and I kind of something as that little bit of that feeling of, well, I don't want to change anything, that superstitious kind of, I want to keep the same thing going, so we continue to get results that we did before. So we're all back down there. We've obviously got the main area open for everybody, which is going to be open from 5 o'clock. Going to link everybody to tickets. It's on Eventbrite, so it's quite easy to search for. If you just search for Bayer Leverkusen, it comes straight up, so very easy to find. We'll put a link in here as well. And if not, you can go over onto WH Fan Factory on Twitter. It can be found there. And also Fan Factory on Instagram and on... what's the other platform, mate? I can't remember the other platform now. It's Facebook. Facebook, mate. Facebook. So it'll be on there as well. So it'll be nice and easy to find. I'm looking forward to the day, mate. I just think the venue's a fantastic venue. I think the screens are brilliant. You always get a perfect view wherever you are inside the venue. We've got the DJ coming back down as well, playing all the songs that gets everybody up for it and builds a little bit of atmosphere before kickoff. Amazing food. Just a brilliant occasion, mate. There's no better way for me personally watching these away games in Europe. When you can't fly out there, this is, definitely the place to be. And you've got two options. People can be downstairs and they can just be in the normal environment, or there's a Hammers Chat area and you are doing a mini live show. So we've obviously done the plug on your channel, which people will obviously be interested in that because they follow you. But people who might be on this channel and might not necessarily normally go to Hammers Chat things, give us a little bit of info about what's going to be going on, mate. And they might actually want to join you upstairs instead.
Yeah, it would just be a little live show, half an hour, 40 minutes maybe, myself and Gonzo just building up to the game. We normally do a build-up show on YouTube. That will still be taking place, just myself and Gonzo will be absent from it. But we're just bringing that from the screen to the person, where we'll discuss the West Ham lineup, the Bayer Leverkusen lineup, because at least I can get involved in this one, where we perhaps played teams maybe in the group stages where I've never heard of some of their players. I've only heard of 2 or 3 of their players. It's a bit difficult to discuss the opposition. But I'm actually a bit clued up on Leverkusen, dare I say. You may have a different opinion regarding my knowledge of Leverkusen, but I think I'm quite clued up on it. So we'll be discussing both teams, our chances ahead of the evening, and just sort of adding, hopefully, to the sort of build-up in the atmosphere ahead of kickoff. And then maybe 15, 20 minutes to go before kickoff, we'll shut up and let the DJ finish up the build up and whatever, and then we'll watch all the game together. And I'm really looking forward to it. While Xabi Alonso may be unbeaten at Leverkusen this season, but West Ham are unbeaten at the Colour Factory with these events. That's all I'm saying.
You are absolutely spot on, mate. We are unbeaten. We're going to keep that run going. I'm pretty sure of it, mate. I'm just so confident. Well, like I said to you, mate, I know we beat them at our place. I've stuck with that. The second we drew them, I really feel that we beat them there. So there's been a bit of a difference of opinion, mate, on comments as to how we approach this one. I think there's the obvious, well, we need to just keep it really tight. A lot of people seem to feel like, if we go down 1-0 and bring that back to the London Stadium, then that's a good result. We've done it before and overturned a 1-0 first leg defeat. I was out there in Seville and coming away 1-0 didn't even feel like we was behind in the tie for some reason. It just felt like it was half time. We're actually quite good at that. I remember the Ipswich playoff days as well, when we come out singing it's only half time after losing the first leg. So West Ham, got a little bit of history of overturning first leg deficits. And then the other sort of opinion is, well, we're losing Alvarez for this one. Well, our strength is attacking. We need to just go out and try and score more goals than they do. How do you see it, mate? How are we going to manage this one? The 2 things. How do you think Moyes is going to manage it? And how do you think we should manage it?
It's all Jared Bowen, isn't it? Now, before we went live, the sort of news from Sean Whetstone is Bowen could be out for 2 to 3 weeks because he's got a bruised spine. That's what the scans have shown. So it sounds like bad news for Bowen, which is obviously bad news for West Ham. And I think it might force David Moyes' hands a little bit. I think if he was available, I think you would have seen the front 4 of usual. Antonio's been sort of wrapped up for this game, which suggests we'd have seen Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus, and then Antonio. But if Bowen is out, I think it might force Moyes to switch formation to a back three, what we finished with against Wolves, in order to sort of accommodate that, because there's no replacement for Jared Bowen. Cornet's not going to come in. He's not going to play Ings. I don't want to see him play Danny Ings for this game either. I don't want to see Ben Johnson as a winger per se. So I think he'll probably feel like he has to go to a back three and get Kudus more central with Paqueta, and then get the width from probably Soufal and then Emerson on the left hand side. How I want to see it, when I've seen Leverkusen stutter this season, it has been against sort of a low block side sitting in and saying, what can you do? They're not really one for crosses by Leverkusen. They like to come central and sort of play two number 10s with Hoffman and Wirtz in there. So I think that's the challenge for us, really, because I think that's where we're weak. I think we're actually okay with teams coming down the side and crossing it. I appreciate we've conceded goals to crosses recently, like Timo Werner, for example. But generally, I feel quite comfortable usually when sides are just sticking crosses in. I feel quite comfortable with Zuma and Mavropanos. Not a good, Zuma and Mavropanos in there heading it away. But it's actually when teams play it on the deck and come down the middle, a la Arsenal, that's where I get a bit nervous, because especially without Alvarez, I'm not sure I trust Ward-Prowse and Souček's discipline in midfield to sort of protect that back four. And I think that's where Leverkusen may get joy if we afford them space in front of our defence. We've seen Mavropanos doesn't mind running out and trying to close down that space, which high risk, high reward. He wins the ball, great. You've turned over the ball, you're on the attack, but he doesn't get it right, and suddenly there's a massive gap in your defence, and they're running at it. So I'm a bit nervous. I think Leverkusen could exploit our weakness, but at the same time, I think Moyes' ball, if you like, could perhaps make it difficult for Xabi Alonso. I mean, I'm intrigued as to what Leverkusen do. They're a bit like us, really. I guess it depends on your opinion on who's the best goalkeeper at West Ham. But if it is Alphonse Areola, then we haven't played our strongest 11 in European football yet this season. We've been missing Antonio for large parts. We're now missing Alvarez, so we're not going to have our strongest 11 on Thursday. Leverkusen haven't fielded their strongest 11 yet either. Their keeper, who's their captain, hasn't played a game in European football yet this season. Andrić has been coming in for Palacios quite often. So Alonso does rotate heavily in European football. I'm not sure he will, because they've pretty much wrapped the title up. If they win on Sunday, they've won the title. They've got 60. They could lose on Sunday and still win the title comfortably. So I think he can focus on this 2 games against West Ham, and I would expect to see their strongest 11. But not every manager does it. You'll quite often see Klopp stick with Keller over Alisson. You'll see Pep stick with Ortega over Ederson. I just wonder if Alonso might stick with a couple of his players over his first choice ones, just out of loyalty, and say, you're the ones that's got us this far so far. I'm going to stick for you. It'd be interesting. I'm intrigued to what Alonso does on Thursday night. I know how he'll play. It's who will play.
Yeah. I just got a feeling, mate, that these sort of games, they're just made for big moments. They're made for players who might not necessarily have been quite at the races, quite to their best. And this is the time where you just need that one little moment, mate. I've got visions of a James Ward-Prowse free kick being the difference in this tie and sending us through. Those things that we've been waiting for, now's when we need them to come along.
Scores a free kick and doesn't equal David Beckham's record.
That's it. How exactly right. That would be so typical of our life is. So I can see that happening. Let's go through a little scenario, mate. We go out there. Leverkusen are not used to some of the traits and some of the strengths that we have, i.e. a Mikel Antonio smashing into their back four, being doubly awkward. We've got a few things about us that, while people might not think it's the best way to play football, it's a little bit different, mate. And we've got Kudus on fire. We've got Bowen, who's in the starting lineup. And all of a sudden, they start to struggle with the threat that we pose. We go and get an early goal in Leverkusen. What do you do?
I know what we would do. We'd pack out our box. But, it would allow us to play counter-attacking football. I think we're at our best when we are able to turn and run deep in our half at the opposition's defence. Against Brentford and we were able to do that against Aston Villa. We were able to do that, and I quite like watching Bowen Kudus and Antonio running when Paqueta's got the ball in the middle of the pitch. So he's literally got the whole half to aim at, really. I think he was awful on Saturday, Paqueta. I thought he was really bad against Wolves. Fantastic penalty, but in open play, I thought he was poor. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. But he doesn't tend to have two bad games in a row. So in a weird way, I'm kind of glad he had it at the Molineux.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, now's the time to puff your chest out, because if you want your move to Man City, and I believe he does, why wouldn't he want to go to Man City? If you want your move to Man City, you've got to turn up in this game. You have to. If you don't turn up in the next 2 weeks against Leverkusen, you might still get your move. But I tell you what, if you do turn up, you'll any doubts Man City had about forking out 85 million for you, you might just convince them actually this is a guy to go get, because he's the one that's led West Ham to knocking Leverkusen, the unbeaten team, out of European football against the brightest coach in European football at the minute. This type of game is made for heroes, and I know people will sort of dismiss Said Benrahma, but for me, he became not a legend, but he became a hero for what he did in the Conference League. And I think we might not appreciate it, but give it 10, 15 years, I think Benrahma's status at West Ham will sort of come to light. A bit like Vazte. I look back at Vazte as a cult hero because of what he did. Is he one of our best ever players? Hell no. Is he a legend? Not a chance. But he's a bit of a hero for me because of that goal. I think Benrahma will have that. But this game, Yarmolenko against Sevilla, do it. It's there. The headline is there for somebody to go and clinch it and sort of write your name down in West Ham history a little bit here. Whether it's Kudus, Paqueta, Michail Antonio, someone, go do it. Go do it. It's there. It's there waiting for you.
Yeah. I've put the email at the bottom of the screen as well. So if anybody needs any information or wants to ask any more questions about the event that we're doing for the first leg, the away leg screening at the Colour Factory, you can email me, or if you need the ticket link, send an email there and I will email the ticketing link over. No, mate, I echo a lot of what you're saying now. If we're on top, and like you say, we will play counter-attacking football, we are going to drop deep. I think sometimes we're a little bit guilty of maybe not playing to momentum. Football is about momentum at times. And I think sometimes we have that momentum. Teams look like they're on the ropes. There's a few that spring to mind this season, and Aston Villa was one at home. I thought Aston Villa looked there for the taking. Newcastle right at the beginning of the season is another perfect example. I thought they looked ragged. I thought they looked tired. I thought they looked just there to be got at. And sometimes we just seem to let people off the hook a little bit, where I think, right, if we push on here, we're going to kill this game off. We just try and sit back. We let them grow back into the game, and it's a bit of a shame. I hope that the energy levels of a tie like this will kind of keep us going. But you mentioned now the likes of Benrahma, heroes. Fornell's another one, which I know obviously you were fond of in his early days at West Ham. If they were still around, mate, do you feel like they could play a part in a game like this? Or is this game a different level? Have we moved on from those types of players? No.
Because we've not bought anyone.
Mm.
We should have moved on. I would suggest the club have moved on in the sense of when we signed these players, not so much Fornals. He came in when we were sort of mid-table. We finished, was it 11th or 12th under Pellegrini? And then we signed Fornals then. But when we signed, say, Benrahma, we were a side that was sort of a relegation battling team. We went to Championship, got one of the best players out of the Championship. And that was the right thing to do. When you're a club down the bottom of the Premier League, I think that's exactly where you should be trying to look for to do your shopping. You should be looking at the best players in Championship. Let's get them in. And he played his part at West Ham, but we've moved on from that. We're now a side competing. Look at this league table now. 6 games to go. We're 7th in the Premier League. We are a side competing for qualifying for European football now. Said Benrahma wasn't good enough for that level of football, in my opinion, and nor was Pablo Fornals by the end of it. I think he could have been, but I think Fornals de-appreciated rapidly at West Ham, and it was a bit sad to see. But we've moved on from that, and I'd suggest there's one or two players currently at the club not at the level where we want to be. So have we moved on as a football club? Yes, but as a squad, no, because we haven't replaced them. So would they have had a part to play on Thursday? Maybe not starting, but off the bench, absolutely. And since January, since they've both left to today, there's been probably quite a few games, not loads, but there's been quite a few games where at least one of them would have played, or at least one of them would have come on. And instead, we've been sat there looking at the bench, like Burnley, for example, where it was almost screaming out for an attacking player to come on, but there wasn't one. And we just had to sit there like, where is this guy? You know, the Benrahma and Fornals between them had over 1,000 minutes. They played over half the games between them. So it's like, it's quite a significant game time to let leave the club and not bring anybody in, which was just stupid, really. But that's the situation we're in. So to answer your question, the club's moved on, but the squad hasn't.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, mate. I do feel like we look at that bench at times crying out for something to bring on, something to help change a game. Even if we're in front, sometimes I look and just think, well, who have we got to either hold the ball up or you know, just give us an outlet sometimes? And we don't even have that. You don't trust Cornet to come on and be that long ball outlet that you're going to get the ball to him and he's going to hold it up the end of the pitch, get you up the other end and just take a bit of pressure off. You know, you look at that bench sometimes and you do think there isn't a lot of options. We saw it against Tottenham. I think a lot of people felt Moyes was scared of making a change after what happened at Newcastle. But, you know, whether he was or whether he wasn't, there isn't much there to choose from, to be perfectly honest. So it's a difficult one. I'd rather have them. Certainly, you know, if you was out there and you was 1-0 down and you felt like you wanted to go and try and nick one on the break in the last 10 minutes, bringing on Benrahma full of energy, just to be something a little bit different, I think could have been a real good option. So it was a weird one for me, mate, the fact that they went out the door and weren't replaced. So, yeah, I would rather have them. They obviously played a big part, the pair of them as well, Benrahma and Fornals last year. So they did have that little bit of something about them that could have dug us out. But, mate, there's no question that, you know, watching people like Kudus is on an absolutely different level to the likes of those sorts of players. And let's just hope that we don't need to rely on anything else. We just get the job done with what we got on the pitch anyway. Right, I don't think we need to talk about too much more, mate. I will give it one final plug. We've got the Hammers chat area upstairs. Gonzo and Gio doing a live before the match, similar to the pre-match build-up show, but in person to answer all of your questions, which would be really good. We've also got the main space downstairs for general admission. Anyone who wants any more information, westhamfanfactory@gmail.com. I'll put the link below, and also you can find us on Eventbrite, Bayer Leverkusen versus West Ham United. Mate, screening's going to be there, atmosphere's going to be there, and anyone who purchases a ticket for this first leg event, we are going to open again as a kind of different offering for a pre-match experience at home matches. And people are going to be able to come down. Again, a DJ, build us up to that important second leg at the London Stadium, give you somewhere new to go. We're going to pack the Fan Factory out, get everyone right in the mood, right up for it, and then we're going to go and absolutely roar them boys on in the second leg and get this job done and roll on to Italy, mate, is the plan. So I look forward to seeing you on Thursday night, mate. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, I guess we'll end it there. Anything else you want to end with regards to this tie, mate? What's your prediction? Give us your prediction, mate.
I just hope the boys give it everything, and if we get knocked out, because listen, we could play fantastic and still get knocked out, because Bayer Leverkusen are a damn good side. Xabi Alonso is a fantastic manager, and their bench is going to piss all over ours on Thursday. Their bench, I guess, is going to have Schick on there. It's going to have Taylor, Adley. It's going to have Andrick. It's going to have a top centre back on there. Their bench is going to be, even if he plays his first 11, it's going to be stacked with talent that would get game time at West Ham. So it's a very difficult tie, this. if we can keep it to a 1-0 defeat or a 2-1 defeat or whatever, I think that gives us a chance. A 2-goal loss, no, I'm not. My optimism will disappear, Frankie. But a 1-goal one gives us an opportunity to. 'Cause I agree with you. I think we can beat them at the London Stadium, but I don't think we can smash them at the London Stadium. I'm thinking it's a 1-0, 2-1 job back at our place. So in order for that to be enough, we can only lose by a goal and then also go to extra time and penalties if required. But I think Thursday, I think we lose 2-1. However, this stinks of Sevilla. This one, I just can't get over it. I just feel like it's set up to. I've got a feeling we'll only beat them once, and they'll probably only lose one game this season. It'll be to West Ham, and it'll knock them out. They'll go on to win the Bundesliga. They'll go on to win the German Cup. They're in the final of the German Cup as well. I think they'll go on to win the double, but I think they lose one game out the entire season, and it's at the London Stadium.
Mate, I think you're right. To do a treble out the blue seems a big arse, mate. Something's got to go wrong in that journey somewhere. To go from zero, well, not zero, they were a good side anyway. They've been building for a long time. But what I mean is, it's unusual for a side not to really win things and then suddenly turn up with a treble.
And in the manager's first full season at like a
Yeah.
senior club as well. He joined obviously early last season, October, I think it was. He joined Leverkusen, but before that, he was at Real Sociedad B. He was, third tier, then second tier, then third tier Spanish football. So his first full season as a manager, he goes unbeaten and wins the treble. Is just unheard of, really, isn't it? But there's a
Yeah.
reason it's unheard of. It doesn't happen.
No, Mandy's just commented there, so we'll end on that one. Moyes has completely lost trust in Phillips, or will we see him again? Do you think Phillips has a part to play across these two legs, mate?
No, I think if we were ever going to see him again, Wolves would have been, we're 2-1 up, a handful of minutes to go. Paqueta was done. He wasn't playing very well anyway, but he was also on a booking. He was absolutely knackered. But not just Phillips. I've got queries over near for Garrett at the minute as well. Again, he would have been another sub you could have brought on to try to see the game out. And Moyes decided he trusted a knackered Paqueta rather than a fully fit Cornet, Phillips. Or I think it's the Newcastle game. I think it's put the fear of God into David Moyes. He didn't make any subs at Spurs, and then the two at half time, but he had to against Wolves, and then the third substitution was forced with Jared Bowen going off, and that was in the 55th minute. We didn't make another substitution, and I thought there was a couple of easy ones to make with Cornet being knackered. I thought Emerson was knackered, and I was screaming at him. You still had two stoppages. I was like, mate, just kill the game off. Just do a sub. Just take off Paqueta and put on someone, whether it's Phillips or Gerd. Cornet, just put someone on just to let Paqueta walk off the pitch, just kill a minute of the game, and then immediately after do another sub and kill it even for just piss Wolves off and to kill any momentum that they might gain. But I was more annoyed with Ward-Prowse shooting a 35-yard free kick in the 98th minute when we're 2-1 up. I thought, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you hitting a knuckleball Cristiano Ronaldo type shot as well? But this is the stupid things we've got cut out against Bayer Leverkusen. Things like that. Just get it in the corner, and it's not pretty. Just win the game. Just win it. So Moyes with Phillips, let's just be honest. It's not just David Moyes, is it? I think we've all lost trust in Kalvin Phillips. If I was to see Phillips warming up on Thursday, there would be an element of me that sits there going, "Oh no." Because something major has happened in every game he's played, pretty much. He just conceded a penalty, given away a goal, got sent off. And I feel sorry for him. That was not a pen against Newcastle. I feel really sorry for him, actually, because in no way in hell was that a penalty. That was unlucky on his part, but it affected him. So it's just, I've got a lot of sympathy for Kalvin Phillips, actually. It's just been a disaster so far. He came here to get his England career on track, and he probably looked at the Jesse Lingard move and thought, I'll have a bit of that, thank you. And it's just been a disaster. Man City wanted 40 million at the minute. They'll be lucky to get 4 million for him. So it's just, bit of a shame. One transfer in January, and by April he's unusable. Only at West Ham.
Yeah, no, it is, mate. And I'd said that the Wolves game, we kind of needed to use that to find out a little bit about how our midfield could be if Phillips was in there. Actually, what we found out is Phillips isn't going to feature, mate, and that isn't an option that we've got available to us. Right then, mate, I know you've got other things to do. I look forward to seeing as many of you as possible down at the Fan Factory on Thursday, Hackney Wick, Colour Factory again, for the live screening with Hammers Chat upstairs, should you want to join those guys as well. We will catch you all on Thursday.